Hello and welcome to this edition of the Boob Tube Buddies podcast, featuring our discussion of the 4th episode of Preacher's 2nd season, entitled Viktor. As always, we encourage you to join the discussion on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit, or by email at boobtubebuddies@gmail.com. And you can also find every episode we've ever done, from Westworld to Preacher to everything in between, on the website, along with all our songs and shit too. So I'm not going to let my buddy sit here waiting. Let's go and jump in the weeds. My name's Foxman, and I'm joined by the Hitler to my Eugene. What up, Mothman?
Hi, how's it going? I'm sorry, but I'm gonna
don't talk
sound
like that.
like this the whole episode because I'm pretty sick.
Oh my god, don't do that.
Just call me Gravel Man, and we'll get through it.
Oh man, so other than being terribly sick, how's your week been?
It's going pretty good. I'm excited to talk Preacher because this was a fucking kick-ass episode.
Shits, yeah, I'm pretty excited to get into it too. And real quick, let me just throw it out there. Yesterday, I'm assuming this is coming up tomorrow. So yesterday, our Spider-Man Homecoming podcast came out. So go ahead and give that a little checksy-outsies, and we'll have 2 more Orange is the New Black tomorrow.
Nice, yeah, I think, and then we'll also start having Twin Peaks as well. We have quite a few things going on. And the Game of Thrones starts next week.
Oh my god, I seriously cannot wait to both watch it and cover it. You've already done your little intro for it, and it's a fucking masterpiece, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So anyway, let's go ahead and kick over to Mothman's favorite segment, 140 characters or less used to summarize the entire episode. A little segment. What do we like to call it, Mothman?
Summing up with that tweet.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, we're summing it up, so summing it up. Summing it up, oh, yeah, we're summing it up. Oh, yeah, we're summing it up, so summing it up. Summing it up and up.
Tweet. Who do you want to go first?
As always, I want my favorite little buddy to go first. But since Fralosopher's not here, why don't you take a whirl?
Hey, have you seen The Producers?
Yeah.
Okay. So
the TV version, the movie version, because I've never actually seen it on Broadway or anything.
Well, no, the movie version from Mel Brooks from the 60s.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, at the end of it, it's all about
I've seen
production.
The Nathan Lane, Matthew Broderick one. Sorry.
And this, it's the same plot, but there's a song in there called "Springtime for Hitler," which
that's in the new one too.
It is? Okay. I honestly couldn't remember.
Yeah, Will Ferrell sings it.
Nice, perfect. Well, this is done to that tune, okay?
Okay.
Sympathy for Hitler, not from Eugene. Dun, dun, dun. Tulips not okay. Say something, Cassidy. Dun, 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 dun. Teddy Guns ain't no cunt. He's a stand-up guy. Dun, 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 dun. Jesse versus Viktor. Bachelor season 9. Dun, 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 dun. That's it.
Yeah, so good. You know what's really funny?
Double sped up though, man. Jesus, that took forever.
We've obviously come such a long way, because I believe it was about a year ago that we had our first debate about censoring a word, and was it not the word cunt because we were quoting The Exorcist?
Well, no, it was the F word because you were making me quote The Exorcist as a challenge.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, I had no issues with
right.
the other Exorcist quote that said cunt. So anyway.
And for the record, it is not the F word that we grew up thinking is the nastiest word. It's the F word that was totally acceptable when we were kids and is now the nastiest word you can use.
It's not
almost.
fuck, which we'll say all the time.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so here's my summing it up in a tweet. Eugene and Hitler, a match made in hell. Each seen a thriller because their latchkeys all failed. Casting Custer, casting GOT. Tulip and Viktor, holy matrimony. And that is summing it up in a tweet.
Very nice. I particularly like the holy matrimony. It was a good touch.
Thank you very. Yeah, I realize I'm starting to do mine a little bit like slam poetry a little bit.
After each of your summing up of tweets from now on, I'm just gonna go, oh yeah.
Hit me with it, hip daddy. I have to say I'm just impressed in general that you actually went for a song when your voice sounds like this.
Oh, that's actually pretty... In a world where Mothman is sick. Yeah.
All right, so this was an awesome episode. Scale of 1 to 10, just in Preacher Land, what do you think?
Probably an 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think that I'd probably give it... I think I'd give it like a 7, a Preacher 7.5.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time, other than this season's episodes, because it's been a full year, really remembering, like, I remember a lot of cool moments last season, but the only episode I remember being, like, a full-on 10 was the finale. And this,
Yeah, as I recall it, we felt like there were a lot of inconsistencies. And no, I'm sorry, we felt like the season was inconsistent. Yeah. In that there'd be great moments or even a great episode here or there, and then a lot of just not quite hitting the mark. I mean, we really enjoyed it, sure. But it was not, like, this season is just full on good, like every part of it to me. Very
much so. Yeah. Each episode's a lot more consistent. It's not like there's a moment that's a 9 and then like it gets boring. Like this episode, start to finish, was pretty fun.
Agreed. Okay, so let's just... I kind of have my notes here sectioned out by character, so let's go through Tulip's part, and then Jesse's part, and then obviously there is their plot lines Mary, pun, and then we can do Eugene's afterwards. Cool?
Sounds good.
Okay, so... Tulip gets carted off by Viktor's thugs from the laundromat, and you can hear that dude being tortured in the next room.
Yeah.
What did you think of Viktor? So we got the reveal on him.
Yeah, he's kind of like this mob style, boss, not anything like crazy or over the top sort of villain. But I liked him overall. Like I don't remember that actor's name, and I can't even tell you what I've seen him in, but I've always thought he was a good kind of like menacing mafia type.
Agreed. He does a really good job of it, and you're right, he is definitely in a show where we're seeing all these outlandish characters who are not even all of this world. What we get from him is a pretty straight-laced, run-of-the-mill mobster, and obviously one who is very powerful. He's got his palatial estate. Everybody really defers to him in this house full of like very serious gangsters. And if Tulip is scared by him, and Tulip does not seem to scare easy, obviously this guy, and I mean, we've seen like the torture that's happening in the next room. He's a pretty serious dude.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as his henchmen, like they're all pretty generic, but he does have the one character that kind of play up who I liked. I can't remember his name, but he had the butcher's smock on and like the nice outfit and vest underneath it. And eventually when Jesse comes into it, there's like a nice fight scene there. But that was kind of the, I guess, preacher flair to the villains this episode, if there was going to be one.
Agreed. And was it Uptown Girl that was playing in the fight scene?
Yeah, which I always think of at the end of...
What the fuck just happened?
Someone obviously just did like 18 donuts in my backyard.
Wait, what? That was the loudest thing I've ever heard. I felt like I was like on the set of Tokyo Drift.
That or we have a banshee.
Oh my god, that was so scary.
Yeah. Oh man, it was actually pretty surreal because I was like, is there something going on with my computer? Is it in your background? And then I take my headphones out and it's even worse, and just I may have just been haunted on air.
Oh my god, there's a poltergeist in the fiber optics. I did not like that.
Not at all.
Okay,
Uptown Girl, you've been living it up. That's a great... anyway, I was saying, I think of the end of Step Brothers when there's the Billy Joel, like 80s Billy Joel tribute band.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just playing his like 50s style songs.
Yeah, that, and we'll get to the fight scene because that was maybe the best part of the entire... honestly, actually, the Eugene stuff was my favorite, but it was the best non-Eugene part of the episode for me. So... What did you think? Were you totally shocked by the reaction of that little girl that Tulip sits down and talks to? Because she's getting the cold shoulder from everybody.
I wasn't. I mean, slightly. Like, you by the point that she interacted with the girl, you got the feeling that no one was going to like her, and I thought you were going to get the same feeling there. But you're also halfway expecting it to be like that tender moment or something. But then it was just very Preacher for her to like spit at her and say, oh, "My daddy kills you."
Yeah. Good God. And I don't know that there's too much else to mention here. Obviously, Tulip tries to kind of make a run for it. Nah, I don't even know if that's the right word. She tries to break into the gun safe and then disarms the one thug, doesn't pull the trigger on Viktor, and eventually gets subdued.
Yeah, I mean, that's the long and short of it. You're wondering why she hesitates on Viktor. Maybe it's just the escape plan. But obviously them being married might have part of, you eventually find out that's probably why there's hesitance.
Exactly. So,
real quick, I was going to say, I will contrast. I think people that were reading the comic and watching this were probably thinking this was like a guy that hires hitmen out, because that's what kind of happens in the original and the comic. She takes up a job when she's down on her luck and agrees to basically kill someone, flubs the job, and then the person looking for her is the guy that hired her essentially. And so that's where, if you read the comic, you thought this was going. So the whole marriage thing was very out of left field. One, because it's not in the comics at all, but two, because they're kind of taking one storyline and taking it a very different way.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you provided context to that, because I did not recall that from reading it. Okay, so let's hop over to Jesse and Cassidy's plotline, which, we can kind of skip forward past the stuff at Dennis's apartment and talk about the things that happen when they go to the ad agency guy.
Yeah, well, when they're watching, did you immediately notice when they were watching the Katrina that was the dude that played God?
Instantly, yes.
Okay, yeah.
And the Frankie Muniz thing made me laugh
so
too.
Good. Yeah, Frankie Muniz.
Just the most random choice of people.
Yeah.
And what does Cassidy say? He's like calls him a gem or something like that.
Yeah, Frankie Muniz. I think it was a gem. Oh yeah, very very funny. They go to the ad agency, and I love Teddy Gunt, which I feel like it's almost a. They're like, what accent, if you say Gunth, or what accent can you have a real last name that'll sound like cunt, but otherwise we're not allowed to say it on air? Let's make that happen. And then the fact that he's Asian on top of it, he's just a very funny character.
Yes, he was very funny, and especially because he like kind of has that Bronx attitude a little bit too.
Exactly, yeah, very much so.
It reminded me of, I love my Impractical Jokers. Well, one of the guys on there, he has like a recurring quote-unquote character that he does called Tony Gunk. And it's basically like when he's trying to be like a cool, tough guy or whatever. Kind of like how Andy Dwyer from Parks and Recreation has his character. Oh shit! I totally blanked.
I know what you're talking about.
Watch Parks and
Rec?
Rec?
I don't remember the name, but yeah, I remember him having the character. Oh god, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that character cracked me up, and the video was so good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, he did a great job. I particularly love like he starts to tear up and goes, "Oh, my suffering is your suffering." Sorry, that just gets me. And then at the end when he's just like I've been thinking a lot about it, and life's short and it's the role of the lifetime, so yeah, I'm in. And then you're like, why did they kill him? And then Jesse's like, well, they had to get him to heaven somehow, and you're like, oh, that's genius.
Yeah. I thought it was so funny that they used Game of Thrones.
Oh, that was the funniest moment of the whole episode. They even had the fake version of the song come in.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, the knockoff version. It was so good.
And like
I really like that because they could have used an AMC shows, which made it even funnier to me that they chose Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, like as giant television. I love that they're doing kind of like squinty, Art of the Deal eyes back and forth to each other while it's playing, which is so, I don't know, I was just dying laughing. And then when immediately Teddy's like, all right, 15,000 a show, this, that, and the other, business, and then Cassie's like, what? Dinklage doesn't even fly business, or, whatever it was.
First class, but yeah. So then it becomes they talks him down to business class. And you can tell that Jesse's like he gets in on it a little bit, but he's got his brow furrowed the whole time. Like, why is this the route that we're going with this right now?
But hey, it worked, right?
Yeah, and just honestly, the acting I thought was really good on... I like any time in a show or a movie where there's an actor playing an actor doing a role, because then you get to see them switching back and forth between characters really quick. And I thought that the guy did a good job of nailing an actor, really going for it, but then having these little idiosyncratic moments afterwards.
Yeah, like when he's like, let me take that again. I went just a little bit too big. It's almost scary if you don't see me trying, right? Yeah, like that dialogue, and then like Cassidy's agreeing with him, like, he's great.
That was the best part. He's like basically like an acting aficionado in the background.
Yeah, I do love that. Like, it's very clear they've made Cassidy as a character that's really into movies, because the first season he bitched numerous times about Big Lebowski being overrated. Yes. He obviously loves Frankie Muniz. He's very critical and receptive to this guy's monologue, so I think they'll probably keep those types of jokes going.
It's a really good shtick.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so eventually Jesse ends up making his way to the mansion and just absolutely genocides the shit out of every single henchman, and then works his way into he gets knocked out by the torture guy, right?
Well, he gets knocked down, and then like he doesn't get knocked out though, because he's essentially getting up, and then that dude says, I don't know what the hell you did to those men downstairs, but it's impressive, and he puts in his headphones, not knowing that that's the source of his power, lets him get up, and then they fight. So it's not like he gets knocked out and wakes up in another room. It's kind of like he gets knocked down, menacing talk ensues, and then a battle scene.
That's fair. And the fight scene was really good, because it was equal parts like good fight choreography mixed with humor, with the whole thing being played as if it's, essentially is, for the audience's sake, happening to Uptown Girl. And I was it was really enjoyable. Like, that is Preacher at its best for me, is a moment like that.
Yeah, the like zany, over-the-top action that it has is so much fun. I mean, that coupled with just the weird humor that it continues to, I think, have a higher concentration of than it did last season. Like, it's definitely feels like it's hitting its stride to me.
I agree. And so then that's when he goes upstairs and finds out that Tulip and Viktor are married, as he basically goes to kill Viktor, and then she stops him.
Yeah, she stops him, says, you can't kill him, that's my husband. And then you just get super intense eyes and like end of the episode, and you're like, my God, I wonder how that scene's going to play out.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for that side of the plot line. Before we jump into Eugene's plot, I sat down and spoke with Fralosopher about how this season compares to last season, a little bit about this episode, what he wants to see happen in the future. So why don't we kick it over to that real quick, come back with an ad, and then jump straight into Eugene's plot line.
Sounds good. We'll be right back, little buddies.
Preacher don't preach.
And now, here's Mike.
Okay, so I am here joined by Boob Tube Buddies regular, Fralosopher. Hello. So how's everything going tonight?
It's been going good.
Excellent. We got warmed up basically debating geopolitical nonsense for about 30 minutes, so we're all fired up.
It's always fun.
So before we get into just this episode, I want to ask you, just pull back the scope between the first season and what we've seen of this season so far. What's your take?
Like, I was pretty, like, I liked the first season, but I wouldn't say it was, like, my favorite. And then, like, right off the bat, like, the first episode of this season, I was, like, super excited watching it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And there's, like, for whatever reason, I didn't like Tulip last year, and that dynamic has changed for me. I don't know what's changed, because I don't remember last season enough to say what it was I didn't like about her.
Sure, yeah.
But, like, so all the characters now are, like, hitting for me.
Last season was really inconsistent, though, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. but every episode of this season so far has been really good. If anything, this was the weakest episode to me, and it was still very good.
Well, they've cranked up the cool and the funny, just like and like everything about it, just like looks
they've really
better and
found
feels
their
better.
style.
Yeah.
A perfect example is the intro, which started back last week and was also on this one. The way that they have the lettering behind it, everything about it, like the feel of New Orleans, is really cool. Now, I know that you must be loving this because any show that moves from a first season in Texas to a second season elsewhere, a la True Detective, I know you really go for it.
Yeah, it's always a good sign.
Okay, so let's talk this episode specifically. So let's just set aside Jesse and Cassidy because they did not do a whole lot that I feel is super important. Although maybe we'll talk about the acting tape a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's talk Eugene.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you think about the Hitler portrayal first off?
Well, it's interesting because, like, I really wanted to see more of the scene where whatever his hell was. I really want to know what that whole scene was, and hopefully they're going to go back to it.
Yeah.
Because it's so tantalizing, because Hitler's actually, if you don't know about him, he's actually, like, a hero in World War One. Like, he's everything you want a human being to be.
Yeah, and
then,
super artistic, Renaissance man.
Yeah, and there's something in the shift between there and the 1930s that set this guy on this different path. And not defending Hitler, but I would really like to know what it is the show is going to identify as that seminal moment that turns him around.
I'm very curious too, and frankly, I doubt that they bring it up if they don't have some intent on bringing some resolution to whatever their vision of that is.
Yeah, but I mean, with Eugene, it is interesting now that he's in this dynamic where he has to change because being Eugene isn't going to fit in hell, so he's got to adjust to life in hell. And presumably whenever he gets pulled back out, it's going to be fascinating, the person he is.
Now, do you think because he attacked Hitler, do you think Hitler will understand in the next episode? Or, like, and that he maybe has a buddy in Hitler now?
So you have to say that Hitler's an understanding dude, right? Which is a hard thing to say. I have a feeling
He seems like a thoughtful guy on the show.
Yeah, I have a feeling he'll at least give the image of being understanding.
Okay.
Whether or not it's just a chess move and, he's got other motivations later on, I don't know.
Do you think, because I had a little bit of a debate with Mothman on this last episode, do you think that Jesse is a good guy?
I think all in all, Jesse's probably a good guy.
Okay.
But
what about the fact that he sent Eugene to hell and that has become not even a secondary thing for him? That is like so far back in his list of priorities.
Yeah, it doesn't occur to him very often. It's right. So I don't think he's supposed to be perfect, and I could easily see him like sliding between hero and anti-hero in the blink of an eye.
He does that.
Yeah.
To me, yeah.
Right, and Tulip's said he's got this darkness that you don't know about when she was talking to Cassidy, so there's obviously something unresolved in there. But I think overall, I think he's generally a good guy. But,
yeah. So what did you think about Jesse storming the Viktor's palatial estate?
I mean, it was awesome. The fight in the room is so spectacular because when it starts off, it's like, why there's a fucking foosball table in there? Because it's a torture room, right? And I'm like, I hate foosball. so I don't know why that's in there. But so it's pretty cool. But using the voice, we see it at the end of the episode where now he's pulled what's his name into Louisiana. So he's reckless. That's certainly part of the case, and that's actually how Eugene ends up in hell.
I love the song choice of Uptown Girl for the fight. It's just such a it's like having Enya while you're fighting.
Well, it's similar. Like when I saw it, it reminded me of American Psycho and playing Huey Lewis in the news.
That's right.
So it paralleled to me in that.
That was pretty good. So let's see. What do you want to see happen throughout the rest of the season, based off of the trajectory of where we're at? What would you like to see wrapped up? What are you okay with having be like an extended plot line?
Well, since I know literally nothing about the backstory, I haven't ever explored the books or anything like that.
The only thing I'll say to that is we're probably due for a location change every season.
Oh, okay. What I would like to see this season is I would like to see the Cassidy Tulip Jesse thing come to a head. So, I want them all to find out that they've both slept with her And
Yeah.
that to me is like an interesting tension that
I
runs
totally
through.
forgot that Jesse doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that's something I would like to see resolve itself this episode or this season.
This season. Okay, gotcha. And as far as the search for God, are you okay with that being an ongoing thing?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, maybe like just little tidbits here and there.
Yeah, there has to be a driving motivation other than running from the saint of all killers. So I mean, those are going to be the two: one pulling, one pushing. So like, I don't have a problem with that.
And if I recall, and based off of where we're starting to head with the white suit people and the Saint of all killers and Viktor and the angels, and
I want to see more of the God Dog too.
Yeah, because here's the thing: is that we are. The comics get to be so convoluted, but in a great way, because it's all these weird forces that are converging on each other and just lead to all these crazy, over-the-top, wacky moments. And it seems like they're doing a great job of bringing that to light. And I will say that this second season, I think, is doing a really good job of balancing all those things.
Yeah, it's like, and they're just doing interesting things, like the like kind of the juxtaposition of the Angel Fiore and him being stuck in like his permanent hell here on Earth and having to like keep reliving stuff because he can't die, and then you get Eugene in his own hell where he keeps having to go through the same thing over and over again, and that balance between the two. I kind of wish those two had been in the same episode, but so they're actually doing like really interesting things with the show besides it being funnier and a little bit more like of a traditional comic book movie type feel to it.
Agreed. Okay, so anything else that you want to add that we haven't gone over that maybe you wanted to cover?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty good.
Okay, so thank you very much for coming on. Also, for everybody listening, I think by the time that this podcast episode has come out that we will have already released our Spider-Man Homecoming one, which is going to be Fralosopher and I covering it.
Yep.
So go ahead and check that out. We'll probably make it spoiler free up to a point, then like a very serious warning, like shut it off if you. So even if you haven't seen it, you can listen probably for 10 minutes or so. But anyway, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Preacher don't preach.
Okay, thank you very much, Fralosopher, for coming on. And before we get back into the action and talk about Eugene, I want to talk about our friends over at Spiders Will Eat Your Face, available on Amazon Prime. Oh, yeah, that's right. Bum, bum, bum. Available on Amazon Prime, Instant Watch, and amzn.to. Spiders Will Eat Your Face, the documentary about the history of pet tarantulas in America. That is, Spiders Will Eat Your Face, the movie, on Amazon.
Oh, man, your voice is so menacing. You sound like me when I'm sick.
I have to say, I was fighting back the urge to cough on the back end of that.
That's me all this episode.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's talk about Eugene's plotline, which was my favorite in this episode. So, Fralosopher and I talked. I don't know what you're doing over there, but it's terrifying.
Sorry.
Fralosopher and I were talking. I'm very curious to hear or find out more about what this nightmare that Hitler is living is, because it seemed pretty pleasant, actually.
Oh my god, so that was so funny to me for numerous reasons. One, I recognized the actor because he's been in a ton of things, but I also recognized him as Hitler. I'm like, has this dude played Hitler before? There's a movie called Max that's really good with John Cusack, and it's about Hitler when he was like a struggling artist before he had kind of gone the military route, and this is the same guy that played him in that movie.
That's amazing. I did not realize that. I think that he might be in Vanilla Sky, the person that works for the company who stores people's whatevers.
Oh, he might be. I mean, the dude, I looked earlier, he was in like 65 movies. Like, he's in a lot of shit.
He's very recognizable in the same way that the guy that plays Viktor is.
Yeah, I absolutely love that when the Jewish dude bumps him, and he's Jewish because he has a yarmulke on. How intense it gets, and there's like menacing music, and then eventually he snaps out of it, and it's just like, is he so full of racist hate from that young that bump is what set off the Holocaust?
Yeah, that's I really don't know, but that was funny, and you could just tell he's literally seething. Like, that guy does a great job of selling like the bubbling animosity, and then just kind of straight back to kind of awkward courtship with this young damsel, you know?
Yeah, and then she brings up the communists are vermin, because you start hearing the gunfire go off, and he's just like, oh, not too bad. Oh, no, you're, he's just very, you can tell he's, playing a part to seem normal to society.
Also, really like that they have to have like a desktop support technician in the hell torture chambers, because there are issues that crop up, like IT related.
Yeah, and then you have the lady that's obviously a demon, and her voice keeps shifting, and she's just talking about like when this place was first created, we didn't know how much demand there would be. Now we have constant overcrowding, maintenance issues, all this other stuff. So look. A lot of people, when the rooms go down, they think it's time to kick up their feet and be nice. Nope, this is hell. Act accordingly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It just, it really, and she is in a lot of things as well. Like, they have a lot of recognizable side actors and actresses, and she, she I think is a really perfect person to put in like an administrative like warden in hell.
Yeah, no, I mean, she played the part perfectly. I like the technology. It's kind of like this round wall projector to kind of transport you to your past. And I thought that kind of obviously like weird spiritual magic, but it looks kind of like, I don't know, 70s technology. It played well with the radio that they were using to talk to God from last season. Like kind of this interesting motif with anything spiritual, how you access it.
Yeah, that's a good point. How everything is kind of like antiquated pieces of technology.
Yeah, that somehow is how you connect to the spirit realm. It's got a I don't know, an interesting look to it, but it's not something that seems intuitive, but they make it work. Yeah,
definitely a little bit more analog than digital for some reason.
Yeah.
So did you feel? I mean, this is probably not the right way to phrase it, but did you feel a little bit bad for Hitler?
I think that's what I'm gonna die. I think that's what they're trying to make you do. It's like they make you feel sympathetic for Hitler. They strongly imply that in his time in hell, he clearly has changed because he's not being an asshole all around. He's kind of being nice to Eugene, and the only reason Eugene hits him is that he's like, "Fuck, I'm on camera, and if I'm nice, I'm gonna get put in the hole." So I guess I'll just join in. I kind of posed this question to Fralosopher, and I'm wondering what you think. Do you think Hitler will understand why Eugene had to do that? Yeah, I'm sure he will.
So I mean, do you think that they'll still be buddies?
Maybe not, but I don't think he'll not get it.
I think that I could see them still being buddies, and Hitler like understanding that he had to do that because it's the only way to fit it. It's kind of like, him telling him to go back to his cell or letting him come into his cell for a bit. Like, I think Hitler knows the rigmarole, and I think that he knows that Eugene was just acting accordingly to how he needed to in that moment.
Yeah, I think you counting on the rigorous logic of Hitler is a sure bet.
Thanks, man. As somebody who's half Jewish, I feel like I have special insight here.
Yeah. I do like that they answer the age-old question, who's more of a douche, Hitler or every high school bully? And it's obviously the high school bully.
Yeah, that's a really funny point. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's just Donald Trump Jr. over there kicking people.
Don't do it. Don't you dare. You can't even help yourself. We got so far into the podcast.
He had the nice slick back hair and everything.
Oh my God, don't you do it. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the episode. Was there anything that we didn't cover as we were talking about it that you wanted to touch on real quick?
I think the only other scene, which there's not really anything to touch on other than the fact that the Saint of all killers is walking on a bridge.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I mean, we know he's pursuing, so it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's literally just like, don't forget about this character when he, obviously shows up in another episode. They don't want you to forget, but that's literally the only other thing I can think of.
It is kind of funny that this legendary, otherworldly force of absolute fury is walking on the bike path over and over past into New Orleans.
Very much so.
Like, it's just so mundane, you know?
Yeah.
But, okay, so, go ahead.
I was saying I wish he had one of those, bike sharing things that you can check out. You put like a few dollars in the meter and you just ride the bicycle to the next station and check it back in.
Is that a thing? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so if you go to like San Francisco or Austin or New York, there's places where you can basically check out a bike, and they have different stations all across the city that you like. It's like a locking bike rack. So anyway, they have those in bigger cities, and I just think it would be great for him to save some time, rest his feet, and it would be a funny gimmick.
Well, I did not know that existed, and I agree that would be absolutely hilarious. Okay, so thank you guys very much for listening. Thank you, Fralosopher, for coming on, and thank you to Spiders Will Eat Your Face for continuing to support the podcast. You guys can check us out again at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit. We want to hear your thoughts, theories, anything like that. We will make sure that it gets on air. If you've listened to our other shows, you know that that's true. So anyway, again, Mothman, you're a great guy. Thank you for doing this, even though you're sick, making sure that it came out in a timely fashion. And I think that everybody really appreciates your gumption. You want to tie a bow on this bitch?
I do really appreciate my gumption. You're right. I deserve all that praise. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, little buddies.